What's up everybody, and welcome to the Art of Rushing. I've got a lot to cover in today's video, so we'll get started right away with some class setups. Now, typically when you want to rush, you want to use an SMG, simply because it gives you maximum mobility for running around and outmaneuvering your opponent. So, as you see on the screen, I'm posting the three main classes that I typically use when I rush. One being the MP7, the other the P90, and the PP90. In my opinion, those are the top three SMGs, and that's usually what I'm going to use. As for perks, I typically stick with sleight of hand, quick draw, and steady aim, but occasionally I'll swap out steady aim for dead silence if I think the other team is sound whoring, and I'll switch to assassin occasionally if the other team is spamming UAVs. So you can take a look at all these class setups that I use. Doesn't mean you have to use them. Weapons are all good in this game, so pick what you want to use. Alright, let's go over some quick tips on how to improve your game. My number one tip for you guys is watch yourself play in theater mode. Now, in theater mode is a great enhancement to Modern Warfare because it enables you to actually see things that are happening in a game that you don't see when you're playing it yourself. So whether you're dying from, running into too many 4-on-1 fights, or you're getting shot from behind a lot, or simply you're not able to stay on your targets. Theater mode will show you all of that, and I personally use it all the time to help step up my game. The second tip that I can give you guys is get a good controller and a good headset. If you have a good headset, you're able to hear enemies before you actually see them, which is very important when rushing, because it's all about anticipating what the enemy team's going to do, so that you can be one step ahead of the other team. Which comes to my third tip, is staying off the radar. This is a really good tip that will help your game out tremendously. I personally rock a Stinger missile on almost all my classes, and as soon as one of them goes up, shoot it down, because your goal as a rusher is to hit the enemy when they really don't expect anybody to be there. Just constantly being in their face. But if you're peppered on the radar the entire time, you have no element of surprise, and that is definitely not a good thing, especially if you're constantly in their spawn. The last but not least is sensitivity, guys. Find a sensitivity that fits you. Just because the Mark J uses a 5 or Fearcrads uses a 7 doesn't mean you have to. Play around with it, play with theater, and find out which one fits your playstyle. Alright guys, let's talk a little bit about rushing itself. Now, the common misconception about rushing is that you always have to be moving, and that is untrue in so many ways. A good rusher knows when to go balls deep and when to back the fuck off. So as we take a look at this clip, go ahead and take a look at the top left corner at my radar. It's something that you should be looking at all the time. Now, I noticed that there's 3 enemies over there that are looking in my general direction. That's a gunfight I do not want, so I retreat back into cover, back into my power position, which I'll talk a little bit about in a little bit, but if the gunfight's not there, don't take it. You are in control in this situation, so pick your gunfights wisely. Now, I move around their spawn a little bit, trying to pick a couple of them off until, we have so many people in their spawn right now, they will eventually start to flip, and when that happens, that's when you push in and pick off the rest of the people. Alright, so try to find a way to flank your opponent at all times. If you are not in a good situation, always think flank. Alright, because as you see, as we get into this next little segment here, I noticed that they're spawning back in C, and I've got a couple of my teammates that are actually in that middle building. This is the perfect opportunity to flank them because all of their attention is going to be focused on those two guys in that middle building. So as I flank from the side, not a single one of them sees where I'm coming from. And these guys typically suffer from what I call tunnel vision, and I'll talk a little bit about that later too. So as I get in, I'm knee deep in their spawn right now. I kill 3 guys without a single one of them getting a shot off on me. Those are the type of gunfights that you want, because especially in Call of Duty, a lot of times gunfights don't go your way, even though you know, you might think that you get the kill. So in this next segment here, we're on mission. Now this is a great example of power positions. Now, as you see on this little map here, the green shows my route, the red their route. Now if they're spawning at C on this map, they pretty much have power from the start, alright? They're able to get to the B flag before the team spawning at A is able to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the long route, you know, all the way around the map and try to come in from behind, because all of their attention is going to be focused towards that A flag, typically where the other team should be coming from. So as I take care of a couple guys in this B area, now I have overcome the power position, alright? And this is what you want. Now they have to come to me. They have to try and come find me in this spawning area. So typically when you're in this position, you want to keep it as long as possible, okay? So I'm just going to stay around this area, always moving, because if if you sit in one spot all the time, then you're pretty much a very easy target to pick off. So if you're always moving, if they never know exactly where you are, you're always going to benefit. So as you see in this beast little clip right here, this is just knowing the spawns, and that is one of the most important things when rushing, knowing where the other team is coming from at all times. So I get a nice little like 5 or 6 man clip there simply by knowing the spawns. Alright, one of the most important things about rushing is winning gunfights. So here I'm going to show you a couple techniques that a lot of people use, starting off with the love-hate technique, the drop shot. By holding down the right analog stick, you will lay prone. The point of the drop shot is to make the opponent or opponents miss a couple shots. Whether you see a person late or see 2 or more people, is very viable tactic to win a gunfight, especially if your connection is less than par. Now, I use a jump shot, typically get bullets over an object real quick, but it's also very good if you jump before going into prone, because you actually drop into prone a lot faster if you jump first. Now typically what opponents will do is when they see you jump, they'll aim high and you quickly drop prone, and they won't be able to get their bullets down fast enough before you kill them. So the next segment you're gonna see is strafing. Strafing is a good tactic to use when you're in one-on-one gunfights. You simply move side to side, because guys, if you're standing in one spot completely still, you are a very easy target to be picked off. So the whole point of rushing and getting into gunfights is making the other team miss. So whether you have to drop shot, jump shot, strafe, do a backflip, I don't give a fuck, just as long as you always stay moving when you're in those fights, because it's a lot harder to hit a moving target than one sitting still. So a couple other quick tips before I wrap this video up. Never ever hesitate. Alright, once you have an idea of what you're gonna do, don't hesitate, just stick to it, because if you hesitate even for a split second, you're gonna die. So as you see in this clip right here, I know where the enemy team's coming from. I react, very, very quick. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to win that gunfight. But talking a little bit about mistakes, alright, I put a couple bullets into that guy. and then move on to the next target. You never want to do that. If you put bullets into someone, finish that guy off first before you go on to the next target, because they're gonna turn around and kill your ass. Last but not least is, if you are behind cover, you take fire, don't go back around a corner trying to kill somebody if you don't know exactly where they are. So wrapping this video up, guys, don't get tunnel vision. All right, tunnel vision is where you have your eyes fixed on a certain area, and you don't want to do that. When you're running around like mad, like I do, you always want to be looking everywhere, checking corners, checking different routes that people take. Just always be looking around. So as this video wraps up, guys, I know it was pretty long and I went through things pretty fast, so if there's some things that you want me to add, maybe do another video, just leave it in the comment section, and overall leave some feedback on how you guys liked it, and maybe I'll do another one. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed.